Starting now. This is Real People. Real issues. Real news. Real people.
I'm Stephanie Allensworth, and this is Real People.
This is Real People.
Hi, welcome to Real People. I'm Stephanie Allensworth. My guest today is a Twin Cities food and lifestyle personality, as well as co-owner of a restaurant she runs with her mother named Kafe 421. I'd like to welcome Antigoni founder.
Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, so happy to have you here.
Thank you. It is so exciting to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So you got a lot of really fun, exciting things going on. Now you've got the restaurant. You've been on Twin City Live as a regular. You're their in-house chef, or
so I've been doing Twin Cities Live for about 8 years now, and I started just doing a little bit, and then I was just so fortunate they asked me to join their team of regular on-air chefs. And it just has been a tremendous opportunity over the course of time. It allowed me to start a blog. It allowed me to have some other television opportunities nationally as well as locally and things like that. So it has been like a really terrific platform for me as far as the lifestyle television and cooking business stuff has gone for me.
Yeah, so traditionally Greek, correct?
Yes.
And that's what the cafe is all about, right?
Yeah, so that is a common misconception, actually. Yes, my mom and I run the restaurant, and we're Greek, and my mom immigrated here from Greece in the 60s, and so we do specialize in some Greek cuisine, but because of where we are, we're located on the University of Minnesota campus in a neighborhood called Dinkytown. We try to sort of accommodate a wide variety of palates, and so you'll find on our menu a classic Greek dish like spanakopita, which is one of my favorites. It's a Greek spinach pie with herbs and feta cheese and phyllo dough. And then right next to it, you'll find a mango salsa and pita chips. Not Greek at all.
Not Greek.
Not Greek at all, yeah.
But obviously campus food. So.
Yes, it's we're sort of that diamond in the rough in the neighborhood where students will go on a date, or maybe mom and dad will take their kids out for a special dinner when they're in town visiting and that sort of thing. So it's not fast food by any means. It's like where I consider us a Mediterranean American bistro.
Yeah, and you also do the internet service, so it's a bit like an internet cafe? Or
I mean, I don't think people would define us as such.
Okay.
We have Wi-Fi, so there certainly are lulls in the day where we encourage people, like from 3 to 6, we do a happy hour. That's a great time of day to bring in your laptop and sit and do some work as you might do in a coffee shop.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So let's go back and talk about your childhood. Now, your mom immigrated here?
Yes.
So you were born here?
I was born here. I'm first generation in the States. So my mom grew up in a small village in Greece, which would be like a small town here, but even more primitive. So when I was a kid, where people in Minnesota go to the cabin for the weekends in the summer, for their summers, I would go to Greece to my mom's village, where it was literally stone roads with an outhouse and things like that. Like, it was very basic and bare bones. But in the early 80s, I was born in 79, and like 84 or so, she finally said to her brother, "You will not be seeing me visiting anymore until you put an inside bathroom in." So she became very westernized very quickly. And they were one of the first indoor bathrooms in the village, and then many other houses followed. So now everyone naturally does have them, but it was not as early as you might think.
Well, what a wonderful cultural experience for you, too, to be able to travel to Greece regularly and meet your family. Are you fluent?
I was fluent as a child, for sure. As an adult, I don't use those muscles as much anymore, so I can get my point across. I understand much better than I speak now, but if I went back for, say, a month or 2 months, I would catch up very quickly.
Yeah.
Working with my mom, I don't let us speak Greek at work very much because people think you're talking about them. So out of respect for the rest of the staff who does not speak Greek, I try to keep it in English, because the secret is you usually are talking about people if you're speaking in a different language. Yes, that's the secret.
I know a lot of services that do that.
Yeah, right. Totally.
So the truth comes out, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no secrets here.
So where else have you been? You've been all over. You're traveling and doing different shows all over?
Yeah, well, I was lucky. So after I graduated from college, I moved to New York City. So I was a youngster with a dream of being an actor and that sort of thing. And then my path in the arts while living in New York led me into hospitality, which is sort of a path that a lot of young artists take when they move to a city like that. So I started waiting tables, and I was stage managing and doing all sorts of different artistic jobs. And at a certain point, I was like, you know what? I love doing all of these different things that I'm doing, but a paycheck sounds really great. Yeah. And I started managing restaurants for a corporate restaurant group while I was living out in New York. And that started as like, I'm going to do this for the summer, and then I'll get back into acting after I've saved a little money. But I found it was something that I was good at. I loved food. I grew up around food. My mom had been running a catering business from home when I was young, and then that grew into something much bigger, which has now turned into the restaurant and catering. But I had a background in food service, and that sort of thing. So I followed that path for a while and left New York, moved to Chicago to continue managing restaurants with this company there. And while I was living in Chicago, Food Network was sort of like in its infancy. And so I spent a lot of time sort of hanging out, working in the restaurant, going out at night, getting home late, and then in the morning I would come home or I'd come home at night. And in the morning before work, I would watch Food Network before I go back to the restaurant. And that's when Paula Deen and Bobby Flay were really up and coming. Rachel Ray was still like just Rachel Ray with 30-minute meals. And I was like, I should do that. Like, that is a perfect sort of combination of my performance background as well as the hospitality field that I have grown into and has become sort of my next career.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so when I moved back to the Twin Cities to help my mom with the restaurant, I fell into Twin Cities Live, really, and it really became sort of like the catalyst to start doing what I had thought about doing but had no idea how to get into. So it was a very fortunate sort of trip for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fun. 8 years you've been doing it?
8 years I was doing Twin Cities Live, and I did all sorts of cool things with them. I've had opportunities to go out into the Twin Cities as sort of an infield reporter and take them to some of my favorite food shops and things like that. I've been out to Mystic Lake Casino with them a few times where we've shot live shows, and for Thanksgiving primarily, that's one of their biggest shows, and they get audiences of 150 to 200 people, and you feed them and kind of invite them into your Thanksgiving meal, and it's usually hosted by Twin Cities Live regulars. So we all have a different piece of the meal. So that's neat. And that gave me opportunities to audition for things that maybe I wouldn't have been considered for otherwise. And I shot a competition style commercial for Food Network in New York during that time. And I shot a competition grilling show for the Live Well Network out in California, as well with Chef Ryan Scott, he was the host of the show, but he was a Top Chef alum, and he does a lot of Today Show work and things like that. So I feel very fortunate with like the number of things that I do. I run the restaurant, I have my blog and things like that. I don't have the time to do all of it full time, but it's awesome to be able to do it as much as I can in that given amount of time that my life allows.
So talking about other shows that are on television,
Yeah.
what about things like, the cooking shows with the chefs, the competitions and that type of thing?
Yeah.
How do you feel about those things? Do you think that they're worthy, or, I mean, like Chef Ramsay, is he crazy? Or
I can get sucked into watching those things just as much as the next home viewer. My own journey with them has been a little bit mixed. Like, I have auditioned for Food Network Star, for example, 3 times, and every time I go, like, the producers love me. They're like, you're great. We can't wait to get you in for round 2. And then I don't get on the show, and then I watch that season that I didn't get selected for, and they choose people, it seems, that are caricatures of people and not people who, they have skill. So I would never say they don't have skill, but it isn't necessarily what Food Network started out as, which was, people making recipes for people at home that are attainable, but just a little different. So whether you're a stay-at-home mom or you have a full-time job but love to cook on the weekends, they were giving you ideas to try just a little something new with mostly ingredients that you knew, but maybe something a little different. Now it's just like competition after competition, and those people even who win them don't necessarily have carried on success after that achievement, which is a bummer.
Yeah. Like the one, Hell's Kitchen, they get to run a restaurant.
Right.
But
that's not a gift.
That is not a gift. Maybe that's a curse. It's like,
Totally.
Did I win?
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to be on TV and stuff like that. Gordon Ramsay, to answer your question, he is a very skilled chef. What he does for TV in the States is very different than what he does for television in the UK. Like, if you watch any of his shows there, he's not nearly as aggressive as he is here. So a lot of it is a little smoke and mirrors, I think, right?
It's because it sells. You've got to have
totally.
You've got to have the drama.
People love it.
So yeah. I mean, that's part of the entertainment business.
Indeed, it is.
Sorry, we're not going to have any big, drama here.
No, I think I'm enough. I'm not like high drama or anything, but I love to cook. I love to eat, and I feel like that is what those shows really should be about like bringing people together, not like making you feel bad,
humiliating people for stuff that's probably just fine.
Indeed, exactly.
So speaking of next things, can I talk about your big thing?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Where's my camera? And Antigoni is expecting a baby.
I am in December, a Christmas baby.
Ah, awesome. Do you know the sex yet?
Not yet. We're finding out in August. So 4 weeks is the timeline on that. But of course, everyone has their guesses, even like the nurse practitioner and stuff like that.
I'm going to say a boy.
You're going to say boy. I would say 85% of people are saying girl. So knock on wood. We'll have to see what actually happens.
You don't have a preference one way or the other.
We don't have a preference, but we have a pretty kick-ass girl's name picked out. And so for ease of not having to go down like the path of finding a boy's name that my fiance and I both agree on, I'm hoping it's a girl. But of course, a happy and healthy baby is what either of us really hope for. So, but we are very excited.
You'll have a happy and healthy baby. I'm
Thank you.
predicting that.
Thank you.
Your son will be happy and healthy.
Then you better start thinking of names. If you're going to predict boy, you better start offering some names to the conversation here.
I think you should go with something traditionally Greek.
You know, my fiance loves really unusual names. And for myself, having grown up with an unusual name in Minnesota, like you have no idea what hardships I went through with a name like Antigoni growing up in the Twin Cities. And my mom got divorced when I was young, so my last name by birth was Dimitropoulos. So I was
very
Antigoni
Greek.
Demetropolis, and I just have these memories, horrible memories of sitting in kindergarten, and I remember this task exactly where we were asked to cut out all of the letters to our first and last name and paste them to a piece of paper or a piece of cardboard or something like that. And I'm like cutting and pasting, and all the other kids are done. They're all done. They're all playing because they're like Jennies and Missies and Sarahs, and I'm like still going.
Can I get another magazine, please?
Yeah, totally. So I definitely don't want to do to my child what was done to me. And those Greek names, we are thinking of a Greek name for the girl, and we have gone through Greek names for boys as well, but have not settled on anything. My fiance is Irish American, but those names are a little crazy too. They're beautiful.
Gaelic?
Yes, the Gaelic names, like, but no one really knows how to say them. Even the Irish don't know how to say them without some practice. So we have 5 months to figure it out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, my name wasn't any picnic either. Believe it or not, my maiden name was Grow, G-R-O-W.
Oh my goodness.
You wouldn't believe how many people would be like, how do you pronounce that?
Has to be harder than it looks, right?
Yeah. Is it Grow?
Right, yeah, they want to make it German sounding or something. Nope, just Grow. Just Grow.
Do you pronounce the R and the G?
Well, and do people ask you how you spell Stephanie too, even though?
Yeah,
like,
now because they're coming up with all the different ones, right? So you got the F and the Y on the end, and
yeah, you're like, no, just classic Stephanie,
yeah, just
right
classic,
here.
Classic.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah, the original.
Of course, which I like.
There were no other Stephanies growing up.
No.
So, yeah. But you know, your name, I love your nickname, Tig.
Tig.
I love Tig. That is so perfect.
Thank you.
I mean,
I love it too. Pretty much everyone but my mom and dad call me Tig. For my mom, I'll always be, mostly Antigoni, which is the Greek pronunciation of Antigoni. But no, she never jived
Antigoni?
with Tig. Yep, Antigoni. So the G in the Greek language is a little like more, yeah, exactly. A lot of like sort of swallowed letters. Antigoni. Yeah, so I was Antigoni Dimitropoulos, which sounds a lot cooler in Greek than it does in English.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Right?
That is beautiful.
Thank
oh my
you.
gosh, yeah. I was Steph or Steffi.
Steffi.
At home, Steffi. All my family calls me Steffi.
Still, to this day?
To this day.
And do you like it? Like, is it endearing because it's your family?
Yeah, it makes me feel like a little girl again, you know, and I just like, it just sounds so cute, like Steffi Graf.
No,
So,
I love it.
But I'm Steph to pretty much everybody else. Hey, Steph. You know, it's just easy.
Well, we've got to shorten everything.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes. Well, for me, Tig became my nickname back in my youth when I was taking ballet. And have you ever taken dance classes before? So
ballet.
You know how your teacher is like yelling at you in rhythm as you're going across the floor, and it is real hard to yell all of Antigoni as you're, jetéing across the floor. So she started calling me Tig, just out of necessity to get like the remarks out faster. So it started with my group here, with my theater group, and I was a children's theater kid growing up. So that's a little bit more about me. I did main stage shows here at CTC and took ballet training and all of that there. So I definitely was trying to grow myself into a budding actress at a young age.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You really have to start young.
Oh, for sure.
And dance and singing is now today something that is a staple. You have to dance, you have to sing, you have to act,
and be good at them.
Yeah, and be good at them because all of the shows are going that way. So things have been shifting again.
Yes,
so,
completely.
But that's okay. If the kids are just coming in with no. You'll appreciate this. If they just come in because their parents want them to be actors and they don't care about it.
No.
Like I interviewed a girl that wouldn't even look at me or talk to me, and her mother's doing all the talking, and I'm like, I don't think she's ready.
No,
I just
poor
don't think she's ready.
Yeah, that is so tough.
And it's like she wanted to cry.
Because she hated it.
When I said that, then she cried because then she felt like I was
mad at her,
or just like she wasn't worthy. It's like. I asked her mother if she'd leave the room so I could talk to her.
And did she get better after that?
She didn't.
No. Well, I was never like that. My mom was not a stage mom by any means. She was a great mom and wanted me to have all the opportunities that I wanted, but that was not her. Like, I pushed my way into that theater and I got so many rejection cards and things like, but it's pretty tremendous. Like, if you want it and if you like, and at a young age you want it, like, you can take that rejection. Like, it is sad when you see like your friends getting in shows and you not getting in shows, but it's such a tremendous life lesson moving forward as you get older. So, I mean, I had a little bit of heartache young, but then I started getting into shows, and then growing up in an environment like CTC, they treated child actors like adults. And so I left there when I was 18, graduated college with the work ethic of an adult performer, which was pretty tremendous, and I think set me apart, not just as I pursued more work in theater and entertainment, but in any jobs that I've had since then.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's cool.
So it's a business. Yeah. I'm just like crazy about it because it's. You love it and you kind of sort of hate it at the same time. But children need to understand you can't start at 21 and think you're going, well, I guess some do, but it's usually because somebody's got a lot of money and buys their way in.
They know someone who knows someone.
They know someone. And usually those shows aren't very good because the acting's not good because they're not trained.
Exactly.
And they don't have to be trained because they bought their way in. And it's just like, ugh.
Well, and as someone who worked in entertainment as long as you did, that must just be like heartbreaking to watch when you have talent that you want out there so bad, right?
The talented people get left behind because it's all nepotism. People who, are connected to somebody in one way or another are always the ones that get the jobs. And of course you get the ones, that become stars and they're on top. But then you have to remember, it's Hollywood. The ones on top will soon be the ones coming down, and somebody else will be coming up. So it's a bit of a machine,
Oh, absolutely.
So you've always got a target on your back the minute you start going up. And people think it gets easier when you get, you probably understand this, it doesn't get easier the more popular you get because now you're in a different class of actors. Right. And now you're competing with other very well-known actors. Yeah. And, expect, like people like Robert Redford to get a no. That's why I think he produces his own stuff.
He knows he's always going to say yes to himself. So,
maybe not even
Can
always,
I do this project? Yes, for sure. No, it definitely is hard. Like, you are always trying to achieve more and different with each next level that you hit, and you think, or people think, oh, you're going to get to a certain point where you can just sit back and people will just be knocking on your door and being like, hey, I want you to come and do this TV show here, I want you on the Today Show and things like that. But it's everything that I've done, all the opportunities that I've had, I got myself. They were not people who were just calling me because they saw me on Twin Cities Live and they wanted me to go shoot this Food Network commercial or something. No, I got it because I sat and scrolled through Craigslist ads posts in New York and LA, here in Minnesota, to see okay, what are they doing and how can I find myself more work? And then fly yourself out there and do this. It's not all glitz and glamour, people.
No, it's not. It's not. And that was doing it right, because people think, oh, you get an agent and they do all that for you, and they're going to fly me out first class and 4 or 5 star hotels, and it's no,
and even having had agents and things like that, a lot of my agents locally as well have said you're kind of you're already in a lot of the places here that I can open doors for you at. I did the Home Shopping Network for a while here as well, and things like that. But it's at the end of the day, I'm in Minneapolis, St. Paul. It's not New York or LA. And to get some of those bigger TV shows and things like that, you are just always grinding, always like trying to like, okay, watch my reel, watch my this, watch my that. And it does get exhausting at a certain point.
Yeah, and it is a
sure.
grind. You have to keep going, going and going and going and going.
Yeah.
So are you going to slow down a little bit once?
Yeah, I have already started to slow down just a little bit. I've put myself in the last 6 months or so with my focus primarily on the restaurant and doing a little bit of TV and blogging. I went through some life changes over the last few years. I went through a divorce and things like that, and it opens your eyes to like, okay, what should I be focusing on? Should I always be focusing on the next job and career and things like that? Or have I set up the stage for that nicely right now where I can take a little breather from that and focus on starting a family and like hanging out in my backyard or going for a walk with my dog. So I am right now still in process of trying to figure out what that magical balance thing is that we all are looking for. But I do know, at least with the TV work and the lifestyle work that I love doing, it is always there, like when I want to like knock on that door again. So I'm going to be on Twin Cities Live again in a couple of weeks, and I love that relationship. So for me, it's important to just like maintain the relationships that I have right now. And once the baby comes, who knows what will happen?
Right.
You know, maybe I'll become like a cooking mom expert or something like that. Like you're always transitioning and evolving.
Have the baby in a sling.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm not going to be an urban gardener. I can guarantee you that. Although your fine husband just gave me some great gardening tips. So it is possible that I could transition into having more of a green thumb than I do already.
Well, grow your own herbs.
I just got to grow some grass. Like let's start with some grass and less weeds.
Less weeds.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, I wonder what tips he told you. I wasn't out there when he did it.
I won't tell.
Oh, it's a secret.
I'll tell you off camera so that I have the best lawn in the neighborhood.
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. I think that we all need to take a breather every now and again.
Yeah.
And I changed my path, and it was so liberating. And I think you'll feel the same way, to be able to just say, I've kind of got a life again. I can travel with my husband again. I wasn't doing any of that. So, and I think, the world is going to change for you in such a beautiful way.
Yeah.
And teaching your child, I won't say son.
It's okay.
Just in case I'm wrong. But, the ways of the world, and maybe showing some cooking and going to Greece, perhaps.
Exactly. Like there are things that have stopped in my life, like big vacations and things like that. Because when you own a business, the business owns you.
Yeah.
And then in the free time, I have been for years filling the free moments with TV appearances and all of those things, and feeling like I'm missing out on some life things that I think I could really enjoy if I just like pulled back a little.
Thank you for joining us today on Real People with Stephanie Allensworth. I'm Stephanie Allensworth, here with Antigoni Sander. Tig, thanks so much.
Thank you.
And congratulations again.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. We did it.